Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Gemini season, Aries sun, moon, and rising. My Aries, this Gemini season is extra spicy. We have a lot going on. There is a ton happening. So we are going to run through the events. I left my notebook with the dates on it somewhere. So I've done 10 of these. So hopefully I remember all the dates. But yeah, it's a really intense whirlwind of a season. Important to note, every single planet that enters Gemini this season is going to pass through a trine with Pluto. This is going to be happening every Gemini season until 2043. So buckle up. But yeah, a lot's happening. It feels as though, at least to me, there was a lot happening in Taurus season, but I had more space to breathe, and now we're kind of picking up the pace of it. So just know that that is the vibe that we are going into. Things are getting a little more hectic again. We have, again, some really earth shaking astrology on its way. But yeah, let's get into it. So, starting off on May 24th, this will be different based on your time because it's on the edge of the day. But May 24th in EST, it's like 11:30 ish, we have Saturn going into Aries. This is a very big day. This is not the first time. This is the first time, but not the last time it will enter Aries. We have a retrograde where it's going to retrograde, I think, September 1st into Pisces again, and then won't be back in Aries until the new year. So just know that that's what's happening. But this is a huge deal. This is the beginning of the end of this cycle. It's really important to pay attention when these big moments are happening. Then the very next day, on the 25th, we have Mercury going into Gemini. It'll only be there for a few weeks, but it is still in domicile, and I'm excited for Mercury to be somewhere where it's really happy. And we get to enjoy some, fun language and art and communication. Um, I think I said this in a video recently. I don't think it was Tarotscope. It's the week ahead video. Me trying to thumb through the little files in my brain. That I like to play with Mercury based on where it is. Different Mercuries, I remind myself of the different qualities, and then I try to participate with those. It's a fun little game. And then the very day after that, we have a really impactful new moon in Gemini, trine Pluto, sextile the Saturn and Neptune that are both in Aries. It's a really momentous moment, conjunct Mercury, it's domicile. And I think kind of like a little bit of hope is that while this is a really intense new moon, we do have a lovely supportive domicile Mercury, which is very helpful. It's the same with the Sagittarius full moon, which I think is on the 11th of June. It's got a rough square to the nodes of the moon, the lunar nodes, which can make it very eclipse-like. But we will have a really beautiful, exalted Jupiter help out. So just know that while the moons are really intense this season, they have this lovely domicile and exalted support, which honestly necessary. Then on the 6th of June, we have Venus entering in Taurus. Venus is officially out of the sign it retrograded in. It's been out of the post shadow for a couple of weeks, but now we get that nice feeling of Venus being in a domicile place. It'll be there for a second. It feels good. It's a time to stabilize relationships, to kind of really chew through what you experienced during the retrogrades. It's a moment to really dig into Venusian things. So we're very excited for that. And then the very next day, I do believe, because now my brain is like losing track of time. Not the very next day, the day it's the 8th. On the 8th, we end up getting Mercury entering into Cancer. And so that domicile is over. This is a really great time to tell people you care. It's a really great time to connect with poetry and art and types of communication and expression that don't require words or writing things down, which I find really lovely. And now, because my notes aren't here, at some point in this next couple of days, me being super helpful, we have Jupiter. I want to say it might even be the 7th. We have Jupiter entering into Cancer, which is really gorgeous. And what's interesting in Gemini season is we do have these chunks of like 3 to 5 days where a massive amount of astrology happens. So just know that we are going to have really condensed, and they're around both the new and the full moon. So there's really intense times around the new and the full moon. So just be prepared. And it involves you, especially since they're both one's trine and one's sextile you. So both of them really impact Aries placements. Me making note to self because I have some both early and late degrees Aries placements. So yeah, it's a really beautiful, lovely season. a lot of shifts and change. And then, not right after that full moon, but right before we go into Cancer season, we have Mars going into Virgo. I don't hate a Mars in Virgo. I will say it can get a little nitpicky and a little rude. That's to point out flaws in a very direct and often harsh and unkind way. But the bright side of a Mars in Aries is it can really take the details into consideration when getting stuff done. So there's a longevity to Mars in Virgo behavior, which we love. But yeah, that is the astrology kind of overview. There's a lot of other bigger stuff happening. You can watch my week ahead videos if you want to know like all of the little details. But if not, this is what you get. I'll also possibly do a larger video. But I've really been digging into the astrology of the Tarotscopes recently, and I don't know that y'all need an overview of Taurus season if I'm giving you an overview here. Anyways, thank you for joining me as I talk and reason with myself in real time. But your archetype card is the mentor. And I love this. I love the fire imagery and this owl kind of deeply determined expression on this owl's face. Very engaged and ready to do stuff. It feels like you have something to bring to the world as a mentor. It can mean also if you're not feeling very mentorish right now, that maybe you need a mentor, but it really does feel as though you're bringing the mentor into this equation. But like, who can you share with? What experiences can you bring to enrich people's lives? And I don't know that maybe your mentorship is the same as everyone else's. One of the biggest, most beautiful lessons of Aries is less about how to, but when. And the when is always now. The when is always the moment you do it. And so maybe mentoring and helping people to take big steps that they're afraid of, or opening doors for them to step through, really feels like very Aries and on brand. It's something that I experience with my Aries placements. It's about getting stuff done now and about trusting. And it's this constant feeling of like stepping off a cliff every time you do something. And if you're used to it and if you've made peace with it, it's a really beautiful skill to have and something I think you can really bring to other people, this ability to motivate and move people forward into spaces that they're unsure of and giving them that confidence in that ability to move ahead. And if it's not literal mentorship, I really think it is about, seeing the value in your life experience and, telling people sometimes or sharing your experiences when someone's struggling with theirs. I know some people don't like that. Some people are like, why are you talking about yourself while I'm talking? I find that to be really close-minded. I find that relating to people is one of the ways that I, as an autistic person, really do well. So like if someone has a story, I share a story, and then they share a story, and then I share a story. But I recognize that not everyone communicates that way. But just knowing that your wealth of experience and knowledge and understanding is valuable and something to share, and it feels very Saturn in Aries. Maybe this is the time to step into Saturnian things, to step into leadership roles, to step into places where maybe before you felt like a junior partner or member of something, and then moving ahead into that. And I love this because this card absolutely affirms that for me. We have a 3 of Wands. This is the time. It is the time to move ahead, to start stepping into those things, to really walking off into that unknown space where we have sent all of our like gifts and skills and talents and times and poured them into something. And now is the time to believe in them and to believe that they will come back to us in the shape that is best fitted for us. And to really dig in. I love it's like, this person holding these wands and having this wand at the back kind of stuck into the ground, supporting them, watching, their ships and goods go out to sea, and that is this moment with this big shift of energy that we're experiencing in 2025 where we walk off into the unknown. And I think one of the hardest parts about this time in history is like how absolutely unknown it is for the majority of us. But one of the beautiful gifts is that because we don't know, there is a freedom to not know. And there's a freedom to do stuff that would never have been considered before because we didn't know. And now you get to do those things. Now you get to be like, hey, I want, since everything's roasted, I want to do something purely for my psyche, purely for the community, purely for the existence that I want to have, not based on these wildly outdated societal norms and systems that aren't really functioning anymore. So I really encourage you to believe in yourself and believe in your desires and do the strange thing. I love this deck. It's so erotic and delicious. But the devil, it can be obsession and it can be hyperfixation and losing ourselves and stuff. But I'm a bit of a hedonist, to be honest. You know, but it's also about doing the thing that you've never done, about enjoying the pleasure for pleasure's sake, about experimenting with something just because you can experiment with it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. And that's fine. It's more about having the experience and gleaning what you want from it and being like, that's something I did for me. And that can be in life, in work, in love, in pleasure, in whatever you want. But I really think it's time to really dig into the Saturnalia of it all, dig into the ram of it all, living into your archetype beyond just, kind of like the spontaneity, but like the wealth of resource that can happen when you are spontaneous, when you do accept things. And maybe you're like, I'm an Aries and I'm not spontaneous. That's fine. But then maybe you need to be digging into maybe not spontaneity, but going into pre-planned things that are a little unusual. You don't have to only live the archetype. We're not just one placement in our chart. I'm a Taurus sun in the ninth house. I don't do a lot of stuff that other Tauruses do, especially with like a Gemini midheaven and other things. That's the beauty of astrology, is that it's not just your sun sign, it's not just your moon sign. It is the 360 of the chart and all of the nuances in it. And depending on the astrologer you go to, you could be looking at asteroids or planetary nodes or a completely different like chart reading system. But yeah, try new things, do different things, maybe try a different kind of astrology or spirituality. um, it's time to be a hedonist, because what is the point of living through this hellscape if we don't enjoy what we have in this moment? And then we have this, I love it. All of this feels very Saturnian, by the way. Um, we have the Fool, and I love this Fool, this little pirouette. It's not pirouette, Pierrot. Yes. Well, they are kind of doing a pirouette, but it's a Pierrot, which is digging back into my theater history, which is those little figures that wear the hats and the pom poms and the mask, and they were like archetypes within theater and acting, which really connected to the audiences of the times that they lived in. You know, the Fool isn't just playing its own role; it's playing a role in other people's lives, and the role that I really truly think that Aries brings as a cardinal sign is this role of opening doors, of creating newness, of bringing in fresh energy. And maybe it's not the one who takes the energy all the way to the end, but it is the one who kicks that energy off, who brings us into new spaces. So do that, step off the cliff. Know that you aren't just doing this for yourself, but you're doing it for everyone else. And if you don't want to do it for everyone else, you can just do it for yourself. And if you're afraid to do it for yourself, then do it for everyone else. There's a million ways to look at these things. But this Gemini season, step into this. And this is Uranian energy here, and Uranus is about to go into Gemini in Cancer season. So just do it. And also, astrology doesn't just happen in the moment that it happens. We're leading up to the Gemini ingress with Uranus. So play with these energies before they happen. See what you want before it all kicks in. It's all a part of life, and your own individual chart can only be lived out and explored and practiced by you. And I think this is the season to do that. I love that we have this to kind of anchor everything. We have this beautiful Knight of Pentacles. I love that he has a mobility aid, and it really gives extra weight to the thought and preparation that we associate with the Knight of Pentacles. This is about making plans. So there's all these things of doing fun things and pushing things out, but we can still plan and consider, and you can do really crazy stuff in a really small way all the time. And that will take you into really big leaps over time. So, you don't have to jump off the cliff today, but maybe we dance 3 or 4 steps closer to the edge every single day that we shift and move through stuff. And it's never a bad idea to be like, if I don't end up doing this, then I would like to do this. Not as like an escape route of like, oh, I'm going to fail, so I need a fail safe. But as in like, if I don't enjoy this thing, then here's another thing that I enjoy and I can pursue in its stead. Especially if you're someone who really is motivated by pursuing things. And finally, last but not least, we have 3 of Pentacles. It is time to reconnect with people. Doesn't necessarily mean like emotionally or in like romance or anything like that. This is more of reconnecting with people who we can help and support and engage in and network with and create systems of like protection and education. It kind of ties back to our nice mentor card here of like finding people. Also, if you notice in this interpretation of this card, it is a mentor. It is someone showing someone what to do. Maybe you're engaging with younger people or people with less experience than you. Now is the time to connect and to offer your wealth of information and advice. And if you're like, ugh, no, why would I be that annoying person? Some people really want it. Some people really need your fresh perspective and the newness that you bring to things. So just because you wouldn't want advice doesn't mean someone else doesn't. But that is my reading for Gemini season, my loves. I am excited for all of this new and wild energy. But yeah, really enjoy it and buckle up into trying new things and to doing what you want to do for you and the people around you, because in the end, that's really all you got. And what everyone else tells you, you can't take it with you, but you can take your experiences and the people you love in like a metaphorical sense, and in a past life sense. What you're doing now is going to affect what happens later. Don't be like paranoid or weird about it, but you can make good choices for your soul in this lifetime. And a lot of that, I think, especially, is based on the sign that you have. And in Aries, it's about authenticity and trust and doing the wild thing that everyone else doesn't think is going to work. All right, my loves, comment, like, do those things. Please subscribe if you enjoy my stuff, and I will see you in a different space and time. Blessed.